All right, welcome back to another video in our node by node challenge where we're going through every single node in the shading workspace within Blender 4.3. We went through the inputs and the outputs and the colors, and we are on the converters. And the one we are on right now is called Map Range. Now, Map Range is an extremely powerful node that you can use, and there's so many different ways you can use it. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about what it does, and then I'll show you a little bit about how you can use it in some basic context. So first of all, think of Map Range node as a color ramp on steroids, because it's going to give you a little bit more control, and most of the things that you can do with the color ramp you can actually do with the map range. Now first thought most people have is, well, the color ramp allows you to add color to it. Well, the map range doesn't allow you to add color to that specific node, but it can work with other nodes in order to be able to do that. So for example, let's first start by using a noise texture. So if we take and we plug in a noise texture into the base color, you're going to see it just creates this noise on this object, which I just have like a metallic object here. So if you take that and you look at it, you're going to be able to see that it's got all the texture all around there from the noise. Now, usually what you want to do if you want to make it a little bit sharper is you add in a color ramp, right? So we're going to take a color ramp, we're going to plug this in, and we're going to see that this is going to have some texture to it. If we want to make it a little bit brighter, a little sharper, get some of these black spots showing up. All right, so now we've got these black spots. Now, if we wanted to be able to do this with a map range node, we can do something fairly similar. So what we would do is we would plug in the factor of the noise texture into the value of the map range. The result of the map range would go into the base color. Okay. Now, in order for you to be able to mimic what's on here, you would want to have these values set the same. So basically what you would do is you would take the value of the first one. So the first one's at 0.436. So we're going to do 0.436. That's going to be the first one. And then the second one, we want to be able to get to this number. So 0.36 up to 0.482. Let's actually just do this to 5, make it even. Oh, hold on. It'll be 0.5, not 5. So all we're doing is going from 0.436 to 0.5. So we have to add on 0.064. So I'm going to take this math node, add on 0.064. Okay, and then what that's going to do is that's going to be the from min from max. Now we're going to leave the to min to max to the same at 0 to 1. We don't need to change that for this. But just so you can see, so this is with it set up like this on this node, okay? And then when you look at it on this one, oh, hold on, jump to the gun. So when you look at it on this one, you've got that silver and black. Silver and black, they're identical. So what that tells you is that you can use them the same way. So it doesn't matter which way you want to use them. And all you have to do, the difference is that you have to do it this way. Now the advantage of doing it with the map range node as opposed to the color ramp is with the color ramp, you've got to move this stuff around. You got to move the black one, then you got to move the white one. But what if you want to keep the distance the same between the two of them? The good thing is that with this, when I change this around, it's going to always have the same math node attached to it with an add. So it's always going to keep that same difference. Whereas if you go up and you connect this one and you change it around, you have to change one and then you have to move the other one. So it makes it a little bit more control. Now the other thing is that we talked about color, right? So you could take and you could change the color of this one. So let's say that you went and you wanted to make a red for the first color, and you were going to do the second one as, let's say, a green. Okay, so we got two colors that are mixed in here. Now, if you want to do the same thing on this one, what you'd have to do is you'd have to use a mix color node. So we basically drop in a mix node, change it to color, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to take the map range and you're going to add it into the factor, and you would use the two colors. So we would have red and we'd have green. And then we plug in our output. So if we look at this, we get the same for both of them. Okay, so it's the same pattern, same color, a little bit darker on this one. But overall, same basic premise. Okay, so you have that. Now, what if you want to be able to, the advantage most people say is, oh, well, the color ramp has the ability to add in a third color. So let's say we take the third color and we put it to 0.75. Okay, and we change this color to blue. So now, when you plug this in, it's going to have a little bit of a blue hue along the edges of this. So if I want to be able to make that same output, what we'd have to do is we'd have to add in another mix node. Okay, so by doing another mix node on here, what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to be able to add in another third color. And we're also going to need another map range node. So basically, we're going to plug everything in the same way. So what we would do is we would still have to have the factor from the noise texture, go into the factor of our map range node. We would take the result of the map range node, and it would get dropped into the factor. We'd have this jump up to here. Okay, and so now we have our three colors. So we would have red, we'd have the green, okay, which we're just going to put the green there, and then the third color is going to be the blue up here. And what we would be able to do is be able to create these three colors off of the two. Now, the only thing that's a little bit different is that you have to make sure you're adding in the values over here on the left side. So in order to do that, we would need to add them in. So we first got the 0.436, and then we've got the 0.064 for the difference. Now we have to add in where this one is. So this is a 0.75. So whenever you do this, you want to make sure that the from max on this one becomes the from min on this one. And then we need to be able to get from this one to this. So we have to add in another 0.25. So what we would do is we'd do another add, another value. We're going to do 0.25 that we're going to add on and drop this into the from max. We'll leave these twos alone again. And now when you go and you plug this in to the base color, it's going to have the same thing. Now keep in mind, colors are slightly different just because I'm just picking them here. I'm not copying the actual HSV values, but you get the point, right? So the point is that you could do the same thing with both no matter what you do. Now, I am by no means an expert, and I'm learning this from other people online, but this is my understanding of an easy way that you could be able to do this. Now, I say easy, but if you don't know what you're doing, maybe it seems a little more difficult. But the main process that you need to remember when you're doing this is that you can replicate anything in multiple different ways within Blender. So like, for example, you can use that color ramp that's going to give you those three colors. But the huge advantage of this is that now when I want to change these, I don't have to move three individual sliders. I move one value. I have one value input node that can be changed along the whole way. So all I'm doing is plugging this in and changing the value. And as I change the value, it's going to change all three values. Okay, and I can make the range bigger if I wanted to, but basically that's the advantage, is that I can change all three at the same time as opposed to having to go in and change each slider. So that's the reason so many people use the map range node, is that it is very powerful. It can replicate and do what a color ramp can do, but you have more control over it, and you can control it all with one single slider. So I know that's a lot, and this one was a little more complex for how I went through it, but hopefully this makes sense, at least to some people. And if you have questions, ask me, and then definitely do some research, because the map range node is really good. So follow, like, share, and stay tuned for my next videos.